hindsight is a wonderful thing, but we have to remember that this was unprecedented, it was global. If there is a criticism, I would say, how is it that with all the data available to governments that this wasn't anticipated and more, we weren't better prepared for it. But in terms of the criticism of Boris Johnson, I would say we've got to remember that he was also desperately ill and almost died during this period. Now, you could say, OK, so he could have delegated better, maybe. But as I said earlier, it's very easy to criticise in retrospect. And I think the report does say that the total number of lives saved probably wouldn't have changed that much, even if different actions had been taken. The area that I would criticise, and I can, I think, comment on this, because at the time I was quite close to the Conservative Party, and I was also in manufacturing, so I did actually have conversations about the VIP lane. And I think that this was an area where a lot of unnecessary stuff took place, and I think that's one of the more unattractive elements of what happened during the pandemic. The corruption around PPE. That's the
I think
down.
there's still a lot of anger about
Yes.
Yeah, there is.
There's a massive amount of anger, and the whole issue over the company associated with Michelle Mone has caused a huge furore. I would disagree with my good friend Alison about Mr. Johnson. The report said he presided over a toxic, misogynistic culture that was completely chaotic, and there were allegations that he retired to Chequers to write a book during that crucial 10 days when the report said he should have locked down, and they say would have reduced deaths by 48% in that time, which equates to 23,000 people. To me, that tallies with the impression I had of Johnson as a complete narcissist, somebody who was only interested in himself, his own political reputation, put that ahead of public safety. Indeed, that's what the families of the bereaved have said. And somebody who can't even now apologise properly. I mean, Partygate, let's remember, he was the first Prime Minister ever to be found guilty of a criminal act while he was in office. He still hasn't properly apologised for that. He couldn't read the room, he couldn't read the country because he's so self-absorbed. And I do think that this inquiry underlines that. Somebody, unlike his hero, Winston Churchill, who was the wrong man for the job at that time. He was an unserious person faced with a very, very serious...
But I mean, so many people lost their own lives, and people lost loved ones. People are going to look for a scapegoat and answer in that situation. I mean, they were just allegations that he retired to Chequers to write a book. There's no evidence that he actually did that. And it kind of ties in with his somewhat chaotic personality, but that doesn't mean that he is to blame.
I was listening to Nadine Dorries this morning, who made the point that we were the first country to get jabs into arms, and she says that was in large part down to Boris Johnson and his work to do so, because there was talk about getting those vaccines off to the US, and he said, no, we have to start here, we have to start
Yeah, it's a good point.
And also said that there are enemies out there plotting against him. He has many enemies, and she made that point.
I just think, the real question for me is, why and how did the whole thing start? And that's what we're not really delving into. We're not delving into that, and that's the biggest question of all.
That's the things we don't know.
Yeah, so many.
To which we will probably never get an answer.
Yeah,
probably.
Can we have a look at this? Sticking with the Times, James. This Chinese embassy in London, the mega embassy, which is causing huge concern. It's being built over some crucial high-level cables that transfer high-level data and all this sort of stuff. There are real concerns about this. Apparently, it's going to get approval.
Yes, there was one thing at the root of this, I would say, one word sums it up: trade. I think the Chinese government has made it clear that there will be consequences, that very threatening word, if it's not permitted. And Dominic Cummings, who I don't agree with on virtually anything, says that they're building a spy centre beneath the embassy, or he's alleged that anyway. And there's a sense that we are handing the Chinese a massive opportunity here to create a possible spying operation. I'm not going to say that for sure, but you're right. The proximity of these cables carrying high-level information is concerning. It's right by the City of London. It's near the Tower of London. It's the epicentre of our economy. Would any other country give access to somebody with whom we're on ambiguous terms, to say the least, such access to the core of our economy?
I mean, this is a very high-profile example, but, for some time they've been writing about, don't laugh, the proliferation of Chinese restaurants around sensitive military bases around the UK. And the possible connection, but I said don't laugh, and the possible connection. But for me, it's again, it's okay. We're talking about this, but actually, this has possibly been going on for some time. Why are we not more vigilant about our national security? Because it is of such paramount importance.
Yeah, and the trial against the 2 alleged British spies that was dropped, there are still many questions about why that was dropped, and they will continue, I think.
Yeah.